how do we measure risk? So how do we then move? How do we take this information and really do something with it? How do we make sure that we don't suffer and that we don't stick our hand down a hole unnecessarily, think we're doing one thing, but we're really doing something else. So we'll talk about the main points of measuring risk. And one is protect capital, generate returns. And for the investor, your meaning of risk is how much money you can lose. Like, you look at your statement and say, I just dropped X amount of dollars. Where the professionals look at it and say, their term is standard deviation. And so we're going to get into kind of quickly a little bit of math. And so, again, I told you we start out basic, and then we're going to start to do the yoga move, and we're going to accelerate in terms of our complexity. And it's just to give you, not to be a mathematician, but just for you to understand variability. So here's what standard deviation is. Standard deviation basically kind of tells you two things. One is what your average is. So that's what you want to know. What's the potential? What's the average long-term return of this particular investment? And then also, what's the range that I'll experience? So here we see this thing called standard deviation. So most of the time, about 95% of the time, you're going to fall within 2 standard deviations of the mean. So let's kind of look at that for a second. And so this thing called the bell-shaped curve is steep, or it's spread out. And when it's spread out, it tells you that, wait a minute, all 3 of these bell-shaped curves have the same expected return. Which one would you rather have, the red, the blue, or the green? It's the red, because you want to maximize return with the least amount of variability. That's the whole goal in this entire asset allocation equation. It's like, how do I push return while simultaneously reducing the short-term variability? Because think about it. The market went down 34% in 22 days. How much did you go down? Like, did you go down 20? Did you go down 15? Did you go down 40? Did you go down more than the market? So it's really a good barometer of risk management to really understand how you did during that particular environment, because it's a really, really good snapshot, because that will tell you how much risk you're going to have in the next downturn if we get that. So